turn the other cheek. It's a phrase that, well, everyone knows, right? Religious or not.
It's completely saturated in the culture.
But the interesting thing, looking at the sources for this deep dive, is how it's actually used. It seems it's deployed more often by critics to, point out hypocrisy than it is by believers themselves.
Right. It becomes this kind of cultural yardstick, doesn't it? A way to ask, are you actually living up to your own standards?
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into the source material itself, Matthew 5:38-48. And our mission is to get past the summary and figure out why this teaching was so radical at the time.
And to do that, you really have to understand this tension it creates between our idea of fairness and something totally new.
Okay, let's unpack that. The text starts with the old legal standard, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
And today, when we hear that, it just sounds barbaric, vengeful.
Totally.
But that's a common misconception.
Yeah.
Historically, that idea, lex talionis, was actually a form of mercy. It was a limit.
A limit? How so?
It meant you couldn't escalate. If you knock out my tooth, you can't go and burn down my house in revenge. You can only take a tooth. It appeals to our sense of fairness. It balances the ledger.
Right. It keeps things proportional.
Yeah.
But the source material makes it clear Jesus isn't interested in a balanced ledger.
Not at all. He introduces these examples that almost seem to invite more harm.
Like the first one. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other also.
And the detail there is just so crucial. The text is specific. The right cheek.
Why does that matter?
Well, think about it. If I'm right-handed and I want to hit your right cheek, I have to use
the back of your hand.
The back of your hand. And a backhand wasn't a punch in a fight, it was an insult. It was what a superior did to an inferior, a master to a slave, a Roman to a Jew.
So by turning the other cheek,
you're forcing them to hit you with an open palm. You're forcing them to treat you as an equal.
Wow.
So it's not passive submission, it's a deeply subversive, nonviolent resistance. You're denying them the power to humiliate you.
That completely flips the doormat interpretation on its head. And this same logic applies to the extra mile example.
It does, yeah. Under Roman law, a soldier could force a civilian to carry their gear for 1 mile. Exactly 1 mile. It was legal, but obviously hated.
So offering to go a second mile isn't just about being nice.
It's about seizing the initiative. The first mile is compulsion. The second mile is a choice. You're almost shaming the oppressor with this unexpected generosity.
And the text calls this loving your enemies, which is the real shift here. It says anyone can love their friends, even corrupt officials do that.
Right. That's the easy part. But then the text pivots to the why. Why should you behave this way? And the logic is, it's theological.
It points to the natural world, how the sun rises and the rain falls on everyone, both the evil and the good.
God practices this kind of indiscriminate benevolence, and the text argues we should too.
Which leads to the line that I think stops most people in their tracks. Verse 48. Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. That just sounds impossible.
It sounds like a setup for failure, doesn't it? A demand for moral flawlessness.
Exactly.
But this is where the translation is so important. The original Greek word is teleos. And while we translate it as perfect, it really means something closer to complete or whole or mature.
It feels very different from flawless.
It's a world of difference. It's about integrity. It contrasts partial obedience, where you treat your friends one way and your enemies another, with wholeheartedness. To be perfect in this sense is to be consistent, no matter who is in front of you.
So your character isn't fragmented, it's whole, just like the rain that falls on every field.
Precisely. It challenges you to release that obsession with fairness and getting even.
Which brings us right to the takeaway then. The source material is suggesting this hard pivot in how we look at conflict. Instead of asking, am I right here or is this fair?
It pushes you to ask a much harder question.
Which is, where am I clinging to fairness to justify my own lack of grace? So here's a thought to leave you with. In your most difficult relationship this week, a boss, a family member, anyone, what would going the second mile actually look like?
Not as an act of submission, but as an act of power.
Right. To take back the initiative through an act of unexpected generosity.
It's a risky move, but it seems like that's the entire point.
Thanks for taking the dive with us.